All right, what's up, everybody? We are here for an edition of Earthwaking Stories on the On Purpose podcast. And Cole's here to tell us of his journey to earthwaking and the impacts that it's had on his life. So, first, I'd like to ask you, where did you grow up? Where were you born?
I was born in Panama City, Florida, and I grew up on the beach in Panama City Beach. Um, yeah, my whole life. I moved to a couple different houses over that time period, and my parents were together, and I think I was around like 8 years old, I think, when they got divorced. So from there, I was kind of just going back and forth for a while. And yeah, that's about it. And then um I don't know if you want to keep me going on like where I went after that, but that's where I grew up.
Yeah, where did you go to school? Where was your first elementary school at?
I remember going to actually Covenant Christian was the name of my pre-K, and I went there for pre-K, and then that was in Panama City in over in town, and it was really cool. I don't remember a lot of it, but I remember it being like a good school. And then I went to Petronas was the elementary school for kindergarten through fifth grade. And that was a really awesome school. I really enjoyed going there.
What did you like about it?
Um, I just like the teachers, honestly. I had really awesome teachers. It was like it was a public school, but it was just like really good foundation. Like the principal was super nice, like good friends with my parents. And yeah, I just felt really connected to the people there and like the kids and stuff like that. Um, and yeah, that was about it.
And you said 8 years old, your parents got divorced. What are your parents' names?
My mom's name is Myra Reed, and my dad's name is Michael Reed. Uh,
How did
and
that impact your life when they divorced at 8?
yeah, I was what it might have been 7. I don't know. I think I was in second grade or maybe third grade. It was like second or third grade. And yeah, it was pretty tough. Like things started going south after having like a really good childhood growing up as like I perceived it. And then like, you know, you start forming memories around that age. And um, I mean a little bit before that, but yeah, just like those first few memories I had like were really traumatic experiences in my life. Like my parents getting in fights and like the police coming and like arresting my dad and stuff like that. And seeing that as like a little 7-year-old kid is pretty tough. So, yeah, it was a big impact on my family, and it was just like pretty messy. Like my parents hated each other, and like me, my brother, and my sister were like right in the middle of it. And, there was no real closure, like communication that happened for a long time after that.
And so you guys were just sharing holidays or was it like a weekly thing, like you'd spend a week there?
Yeah, it
How
was like
was
a weekly thing for a while. Um, and Yeah, it's like so like when it first happened, like we lived in this really big house in Wild Heron, and like that's where they got divorced, in that house. And because we grew up in like another neighborhood, and then we just moved there for like a year or something, and then like everything went to shit. And then like my dad had to leave the house and like go live in an apartment like down the street in the same neighborhood. And so we were like going back and forth between there, but it was just so like such close proximity between the two of my parents, and they would just like, if they saw each other like get in fights and like, whatever, and we were just watching all this stuff go down. So it was like, yeah, it was pretty tough for that portion. And then I think my dad like got that house back at some point. And my mom moved back across town, like pretty far away into a different neighborhood, like kind of near the neighborhood we grew up in. And I think we're going back and forth from there for a while. And yeah, it was yeah, we're going back and forth from there for a while, and then um my dad was living in that house in Wild Heron, and the that was when my well, he got in trouble. He started okay, yeah, so this is what happened was um they had a court decision on custody of the kids, and my mom got full custody of us. And like my dad wasn't even like allowed to like we weren't allowed to live with my dad anymore because he was considered like because he just got arrested for like getting, in a fight with my mom. So it was like a domestic violence kind of issue. And I think that's why he lost like full custody of us. And I wasn't really present to this as a kid. I was just like, going whatever I was told. I was just doing whatever. And I think that had a really big impact on my dad. And so he started getting into like drugs, like cocaine. And from there, I think when I was living with my mom, he bought a kilo of cocaine from this guy in Belize. And the guy he bought it from happened to be like a federal informant. And yeah, so they busted my dad, and my dad went to jail for like 3 years for it. And that was pretty tough on us as a family. And yeah, so that's kind of how it went down. And then I lived with my mom for a while after that, when that happened.
And you mentioned you have a brother and a sister. What are their names?
My brother's name is Logan, uh, and my sister's name is Tara.
How was it like for you guys? What was the dynamic between you and your brother and sister?
It was good. Like me and my brother, I mean, we would always like, I don't really know, have anything to compare it to. I feel like siblings are always like fighting, and it's normal family stuff, especially in like what was going on at the time with our family. So it was pretty rough, but me and my brother, I would say, had a pretty good relationship actually. And like we would always hang out and get along and do stuff together because we're just guys, and like we like doing kind of similar stuff. And he's like 4 or 5 years older than I am, but um and he had friends, older friends and stuff, and I would hang out with them all the time. Like that was basically who I didn't really even hang out with my friends that much. I would just hang out with him and his friends growing up. And they would always like gang up on me and stuff like that in a playful way, but sometimes it kind of got out of hand. So there were some incidents like that, which was pretty rough. But overall, my relationship with my brother was really good growing up, and I considered him like one of my good like best friends. And he was kind of like when my dad was gone, he was kind of like my dad in a way. Like he was playing like that sort of masculine figure in my life, and like telling me like, directing me and telling me what to do, and like correcting me and stuff like that. And it wasn't clean or anything like that, but it was, it was what it was. But and then my sister, it was tough for her as a girl, being in that dynamic. It was more of like constant fights and stuff with her between me and my brother and her and my mom. And yeah, it was just I didn't have that as good of a relationship with my sister as I did my brother. So
When was this? Was this like that it happened when your dad went to jail? How old were you then?
I was this was in 2009, May 2009. So I would have been 9 years old, like almost 10 when it happened.
And so 3 years later, how did you guys reintroduce with your dad? You're 13 now, and
Yeah. Um, it was I mean, we'd go visit him a lot and stuff well, he went to county jail for like 8 months, and that was like really hard to like see him in like county jail, like going to visit him like during that. It was just like he was in there with like murderers and like rapists and all that stuff. So it was like that was like that part sucked. But then when once he got his sentence, he went to federal prison after that, which was better because it's just a different environment and there's more like you can actually like hang out with him when you visit and like you're not talking to him behind like a glass, screen or whatever through a phone. You can actually like, hang out with him on a bench and stuff. So, um, yeah, so like that was good. And, I kind of, and then we went as kids to go pick him up from the day he got out and he had a pretty good setup. He had a really good friend, Mike Manning, who would take us to go visit him a lot. He was in Alabama and we'd always go like early on Saturdays. And I never wanted to go because I was like, I don't want to spend my Saturday like traveling to Alabama and like, I'd rather just like sleep in and hang out with friends and stuff. But yeah, I just really appreciated that aspect of it. And he went out and got set up in a house with him and had to go through the halfway house and stuff like that. But I would go visit him and spend nights over there and like hang out with him after that. And we were able to like play like sports and stuff together. So it was pretty cool, that aspect of it. And then um there was like a time period where because he lost his medical license for getting for being a felon, and you're not able to get it back in the state of Florida after that. But he like went back in and like changed the laws like somehow and like was able to get his medical license back so he can actually go back and practice as being a doctor. And that took like a year or two, and so he was able to go back to work, and then he got a condo, and that was around the time I was in high school, like probably like 15 years old. And I was like fighting with my mom and my sister. My brother was gone to college at that point. And I was like, yeah, I just had enough of living with my mom and my sister and decided to go live with him and spent like the second half of high school with my dad, basically. So, but
You said that
yeah.
you said that you were fighting with your mom and your sister. Do you know what mostly would be about? Like,
Um, just like normal stuff. Like it was just me. Well, it was just me like living in my neighborhood, and it was like I had all my good friends in that neighborhood, and I started drinking, and I don't know if I was doing other drugs. I mean, I know I was like smoking weed and stuff, in freshman year of high school, started drinking, going to parties and stuff like that. And I don't think that really helped at all. And I would come back from my friend's house like after spending like a couple nights over there, and my mom would be just super upset that, I was not coming back and spending time with them. And I was just like wanting to hang out with my friends and do fun stuff. So that, and, it was just tough, like seeing my mom and my sister's relationship too. And just like being in that dynamic as a male and then not having my brother anymore in the house and like kind of missing that kind of male bonding time, and it was just more of in between a dysfunctional relationship between my mom and my sister. And I think it was just like me wanting to like get out of there and get in a new space after being there for a while.
and how was it living back with your dad? Where were you guys at too?
Yeah, we were in a condo together. It was a 3-bedroom condo right next to the bridge, the Hathaway Bridge in Panama City Beach. And it was like 10 minutes from my mom's house. And yeah, and then he got back with Amy, who was his girlfriend at the time. And they went to prison together for the cocaine deal. That was his girlfriend prior to him going to prison. And yeah, they got back together, and it's just like her daughter came and lived with us for a while, who was like I was pretty close with. We were pretty good friends. But yeah, it was just, you know, I felt my dad and his girlfriend, Amy, was just like dysfunctional, like toxic relationship they had together. And it wasn't all bad, but it wasn't ideal either for me. It wasn't all bad, but yeah, it was. I think I ended up spending like a year there and then like going back to my mom's and like bouncing kind of back and forth for a while and like so it was kind of interesting.
What did that bring up in you, like feelings wise?
That's a good question. I guess just kind of like not having a stable um relationship with myself, and I didn't really have a relationship with God at all. And it was just kind of like yeah, unsafe or like not stable and just I guess maybe not trusting others and like never feeling like I could be at home. Like I'm always like unsettled.
And so you guys didn't have any religious background, no church or anything?
I mean, like like we weren't going to church or anything like that. It was my mom would try to take me to church in like middle school and high school. And that was part of the issue too, is like I would be at my friend's house and she'd come like to my friend's house like Sunday morning early and just like scream at me like get in the fucking car, we're going to fucking church, like drag pretty much drag me to church and I'm like I hated it. And we'd always show up late and like she'd have to uh like walk to the front of the church like in the middle of service and like it was just like, oh my God, I hated it. And it was just, yeah, that was my relationship with church at the moment. I was just like, this is terrible. I hate it.
Oh, so what did that do, like with anything bringing up Jesus or anything like that?
Yeah, like I didn't even know, I didn't even know who Jesus was. I just knew church was like my mom screaming at me and like Sunday morning after being at my friends all weekend. Like that was just my relationship with it.
So tell me about high school. How was high school for you?
It was I it was there was definitely a lot of things I'm still processing from it, like n looking back from it now, but being in it, I really just was enjoying myself and thought it was amazing. And I played on the golf team, and I wasn't really good, but I made it all 4 years, and uh, that was probably the best experiences I had in high school was being on that and just enjoying it with my friends. And I had a lot of friends and stuff and I would throw like big parties and stuff like that. And I was like in the pep club and stuff, going to football games and stuff like that. I would say I was pretty popular and had a lot of friends and like did a lot of, you know, stuff like that. So, I mean, it was enjoyable for me actually.
Nice. And so after high school, what did you go to college? What did you do?
Yeah, I went straight to Florida State University and yeah, that was yeah, it was just I think that's kind of where my life like I started just really getting down to like being lost and like getting away from God and being run by my flesh and like just partying more and more because it's just a big party school and I wasn't really conscious. I didn't really have a purpose. I was going to school for finance and that was just because like my brother told me to do that, because he was like struggling getting into medical school and I was just like, okay, I'll just do this. And I wasn't really connected to why I was there. I was just more of just trying to get the same like hits of significance and drugs and alcohol even got worse. Like I started doing hard drugs and
What were you doing?
I did a lot of cocaine, um, a lot of alcohol, just mainly cocaine and alcohol, but I started going to music festivals too and hanging out with my friends in high school, that would go to music festivals. So I started doing that, started doing, um, like MDMA and Xanax and Yeah, stuff like that. It was mainly cocaine was like the big one, like because I'd just go out on the weekends and I'd just go to the bar and start drinking, and then like, if you want to find it, it's pretty much everywhere there. So that was mainly the thing.
And so tell us what was the experience like when you uh how did you find Earthwaking actually?
Yeah, I started like I think the music festivals and stuff when I started really doing the hard drugs, I was doing like ketamine and stuff like that too. Um, and kind of just going down that path. Uh, and then started doing psychedelics and stuff like that. And I had a really traumatic experience. Like I think at the end of 2019, I was at a concert with my friends in Tallahassee, like where I went to school. It was like an EDM concert, and I just I was like blackout drunk, and I think I was doing like ketamine and stuff like that, and I ended up taking like a vial of like it's called liquid LSD, and just yeah, I had a really traumatic experience with that. Felt like I was just like kind of hit rock bottom there. It was just like I don't really know how it could get any worse than that, but I wasn't really conscious to it. It was just kind of like a cosmic 2x4 with spikes on it. And it was just like that moment looking back, and like when I happened, I was just like it didn't really affect me because I was just really disconnected from my spirit and who I was. And after that, I think COVID hit in 2020, and that was a big wake up call for me. Because I think it brought me back home to Panama City, and by then I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm like 3 years into a degree that I'm just like, I fucking hate, like I hate doing. I'm just miserable. Um, like I'm pretty much just burnt out and depressed at this point. And so I moved back in with my dad, and like I'm just doing online classes, I think during COVID, and back in the same condo where I was in high school. And um, there was a moment where I was in my room then, and I kind of was having it felt like my first like kind of spiritual experience, or like where I felt like God kind of came through me. And I like looked down on my floor in my room, and If I Die Before I Wake, John's book was sitting there. And
In your bedroom.
yeah, in my bedroom, just sitting on the floor, like I have all these other books in my room that I literally hadn't even read. Like I wasn't reading books. Like that was the last thing I was doing. I was not reading any books. And yeah, this one was just sitting on my floor, and I just started picking up and started reading it. And yeah, it was just the first time I really felt connected to Jesus at all. And yeah, it was just really, yeah, it was a amazing experience. It was my first time hearing about earthwaking and Jesus and spirituality of any sort, really. And so I just started reading it, and it was like, wow, this is just me. Like, this is my life right now. This guy is talking about what I'm going through, what I've been through, where I'm at, and like now where I'm headed. Actually, I actually have a direction where I can follow. Is basically a roadmap, and I felt like I was the guy who wrote it. And
Like this guy's talking about me.
yeah,
It
like,
was
same town, same friends, same life. I was doing all the same stuff as him. And I was just like, wow, this is amazing. Like, I don't even, this is like so helpful. And yeah, and then I was like, after reading that for a while, I was just like, that was my new thing. I was just reading this and trying to see like where to go from here. And I like talked to my dad about it, and he didn't know who Jonathan was. So I was just like, oh, and then I looked up Earthwaking. This was in like 2020, I think, during COVID, and there was no like website or anything that I found, and it was just brought me to that A-frame building in Panama City that was empty and abandoned. So I was just like, oh, this isn't even a thing, but this book's amazing. Like, I'm definitely gonna take this and run with it. And so yeah, that's what I did. And that kind of started me on my journey. I finished out my degree in finance and started like trying to, I was like in level one. Obviously, I knew I was in level one. It kind of showed me that. And I kind of went on that for a little bit, like another year or so doing level one stuff and like kind of looking like didn't know what to do. And then I was like, all right, I'm setting my goals. I'm trying to go to level two. Like, this is the next step. Because I want to go to the higher levels. But in the book, it's like, you got to go through level two to get to the higher levels. Like, you got to go through it. And so I was just like, shit, all right, well, let's go back. And so I went back to school, went back to college right after I graduated and was like, all right, I'm going to try to go to medical school. And so I set my intention with that and spent the next like 2 years just really just giving my life up for that. And I think I found Jonathan on Facebook and YouTube after that and started connecting him with him like through videos and stuff, but really wasn't involved with Earthwaking at all because I was so involved in like what I was trying to do, like trying to make it. And yeah, I kind of went down that. I mean, there's a lot of things that happened on that journey, obviously, but that was like the main thing. And then, I don't really
What
know how I got here, but yeah.
what led you to want to do medical school?
Um, Basically it was just the book was just like uh it was like think about the person who you think is the perfect role model for humanity, like perfect role model of what you think humanity should look like and like has it all figured out with the success and everything, and that's level two. And I was just like, oh wow, like last thing I wanted to do was go to medical school. Like I was like, fuck this. But then I read that and I was like, well, I kind of have to now. Like this is my only option. Because that's just who it was in my eyes was being a doctor, like my parents and my brother. So yeah, that's basically it.
Mm. And so you found John on YouTube?
Yeah, I found him on YouTube. I found him on Facebook first, I think, and I like sent him a message like a couple of years later after I found the book, or a year later, and just expressed my gratitude to him. And I think I asked him a question on like what's the best way because I wanted to do real estate investing like he was doing. And I
Mhm.
found him and I was like, oh man, I'm just gonna send him a message and see what he thinks. And so I sent him a message and then he sent me back the breakthrough challenge, the 5-day breakthrough challenge on
That's
it.
how I found Earthwaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I heard. So I didn't go. I just didn't go. I was just like, no, that's not it. Like I'm trying to figure out how to make money and like I want to learn about real estate and um, and then shortly after that, I went back to school for trying to go to medical school, but that was just my mentality at the time. And yeah, so and then at some point came across his YouTube. You know how YouTube just you just find, what you're meant to find at the right time. So um yeah, I started watching and as that grew, I started like realizing like started waking up more and more to like the truth of like what reality and the how things actually were. And I at some point I was just like all the only thing I wanted to watch and the only thing I resonated with was his videos. And those were also synchronistic times in my life too. Like I remember watching some of his YouTube videos like right when I needed to, and um it was pretty nice. So yeah, I started doing that and then applied to medical school after those 2 years. Didn't really have a shot at getting in because, it's so hard getting into medical school. And I just spent 4 years like basically just partying and not actually doing anything to get in. And people spend like their whole lives trying to do it. So I didn't really have a shot and I knew that. I just applied and then I kind of just gave up after that and went into more of like a surrendered space. And actually I had like one opportunity to go to like Australia to go to medical school, and I was pretty dead set on it because and then I think there was some shift in me that was just like I literally couldn't, like I was just being ripped apart by the world. And like I was just hanging on so hard, and then I finally let go, and then I watched a YouTube video by Jonathan, and it made me book a ticket to the Remember experience, and that's when I came down here. And yeah,
That was Remember Experience 2, right?
it was three.
3. Yeah. Oh man. Because
Yeah.
like I remember you saying one time you were watching one of the YouTube videos and you're like, and at the end of it, it was like, book your ticket for Remember, and you're like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. Yeah, it was immediately after. It was just like I was just felt like God came through, and it was just one of those experiences that was really intense. I wasn't in control of it. I felt like God kind of came through me and booked it through me. And, that was that. Obviously, it was meant to happen. And I'm just like extremely grateful for that because I couldn't imagine like where my life was headed still. It was just, yeah.
So what was it like at Remember Experience 3?
It was three. It was like just getting, it was kind of intense. I mean, it was intense, but I felt like I was still getting connected to like what was going on here. So it wasn't like, I feel like it wasn't my most intense remember experience. Like I feel like each one I'm getting into a new level of like communion with like God. And that was just the intro, and it was amazing like learning, getting introduced to a whole new world of like how life could be lived, like a whole new possibility. And I remember like coming down here and like packing for a week, but there was something in me that was like, you're gonna need to bring more things, or like you're gonna be staying more than a week. And I was just like, okay, I don't really know what's going on. I don't really know where I'm going. I don't really know what this is about, but I know it's a God thing, obviously. And yeah, so I just went for the week and then had my bags packed at 8 a.m. the day after, and um my van showed up, and I think I asked Bianca like if I could stay for like Thanksgiving, and she was like, "Yeah, you can." And like last minute she came out and told me, and I would literally have my bags packed ready to go back on the bus, and I was like, "All right, well, I'm not leaving." And so yeah, that was that, and then I basically haven't left since. So
That's so crazy.
yeah.
So tell us about your journey that's happened up since that point, like being here in the village.
Oh man, just it's been I mean, it's been the most amazing journey I could think of, and like I've grown more than I could ever imagine. And yeah, I couldn't really imagine being back in the old world, like where I would be at right now. Like I don't know if I like how it, yeah, but I mean, it's been the most like testing and enduring and just like surrendering and just like dying experience, but also just the most like joy, love, and just like connection and just like peace and uh just the full range of emotions, like the full range of experiences I've had in this one space here. I could never even think about that. Like you would never imagine like just how much can happen in one area, one space. But it's just been like a full range of experience here, and it's been like just it's been so beautiful, and it's just like getting cleaned up from the inside out, and nobody's doing this. Like I was just so I just was so dirty, and I keep on peeling back layers inside of myself. It's like the refinement process is just like it's crazy, but I mean, I really just love it. I just feel like I'm learning who I am every day, like on a daily basis, like more of who I am. So I just it's been amazing.
If there was something that you would like to say to the old version of yourself, what would you say to him?
Yeah, just surrender, and put your faith in Jesus Christ and God's in control, God's on the throne. We're all one. Everything is perfect, and love is the only thing that exists.
What was your most impactful moment that you've had here at Earthwaking that you can think of?
Most impactful moment. Oh man, that's a good question. Shit. There's been so many, and it's just like I've been here, it'll be 2 years in November, and it's just like, holy, it's just wow. Most
Like, this is a
impact.
whole different Cole.
What's that?
I'm like, this is a whole different Cole than when you showed up on the. I remember your eyes when you showed up off the bus and you came out of the bus, and I looked right at you, and you just had these bug eyes. Like, you're like, where am I right now?
Yeah, I was full surrender. I had no idea what was going on. Like, I was like, I don't even know what's happening, but this is awesome. I don't know. It's just like coming down to Costa Rica and not really knowing why I'm there is just kind of an insane experience. And but knowing like it's yeah. But the most impactful experience I've had was I mean every moment is just so impactful. It's like I feel like it's not about the amount of moments you have, it's about how deep you take each moment. And this moment is the only thing that exists. Like the past is an illusion, the future isn't real. So it's like it's about how far you take this moment right now. And yeah, I just feel like I've made the most out of so many moments here, and it's just like yeah, it's just a space where you can feel at home and like just you don't feel the pressure of it how it was in the old world. Like I literally was doing everything I could just to like hold it all together and make it all work. And it was literally just killing me on the inside. And now I'm like in a container where you can like actually let go and like heal from the inside out and actually make a difference in the world and actually like live inspired from the inside out rather than just like regurgitating and informing yourself to death. Like that was the path I was on. And now I'm able to like really just receive love and like feel okay receiving love and like just get rid of all the programs. So that's my favorite part about it.
What was the hardest thing for you to look at within yourself?
I just I think just all the packed and stacked darkness, like all the stuff I buried and shoved down and just numbed out and just pushed on, like all that has been coming up since I've been here. Like all the stuff, like all the mistakes I made, all the people I like mistreated and like mistreated myself and like all the toxicity that I was living in that like delusional world and like coming here and like shining the light on it all and just like having to feel through it. And it's still a process I'm undergoing. Like that's a refinement, but it's like all that stuff that's been inside of me for so long that I haven't really been a steward of. I've just shoved it down and forgot about it. And then now it's like coming back up. So yeah, it's been really hard, but that this is the only way to freedom. And like this is, I'm in a covenant now, so it's my only path right now.
What's your covenant?
Just surrendering my life to God, um, following Jesus Christ of Nazareth in the Bible, doing what that says to do, not what my ego wants, not being flippant, stating rooted in God, rooted in home, like coming home to God and yeah, just staying rooted and trusting God with my life that He's gonna make me into the man I'm supposed to be. And yeah, just surrendering all the other stuff, my preferences and my wants and desires, and just only looking to God now.
What are you doing here in the village? Would you like to share what you do here in the village?
Yeah, we've been under a transition period recently. It was like spiritual boot camp for a while. And yeah, it was like a lot. And I think it was the shift like with the Kingdom Covenant. Like obviously I asked Bianca to come come in on that with me and do the couples retreat and yeah, just make our covenants with each other and uh she said yes. So that was a big shift and like a change in my life that I felt has been reflected in my day to day. And it's been more of like um looking at my shit on a day to day basis and like having my mirror confront me on things I can't see and going into those things I like don't even know that they're there or I'm just repressed or whatever. So that's been just amazing. We've been doing that for like a month now and it's just been awesome. And but like on a more of a day-to-day basis, like job wise, I'm doing the construction and property maintenance box and coordinating all the village's maintenance needs and projects and just everything breaks, anything that needs to be fixed around the property, like any new projects that we're building. I'm the one that handles all that. The people in the village come to me to request things through me, and then I work with Freddie, and then Rigo and Christian, to get all those th needs taken care of for the village. So that's like my main job. And I wouldn't even, yeah, I just love doing it too. It's not really a job, but it's just a box where I'm stewarding. And then yeah, I have a truck here, like work truck that it's like the village's truck and just getting resources for the garden, resources for the village that we need, going out and doing that. Uh, yeah, just being a steward of like what God's given us. Um, doing the inner work really is the main thing. And just like getting right with God first, and then having God come through and do things through you. And my favorite thing actually is I do the AV and sound for John's sermons on Sundays, and I've been making music for that, and yeah, I really love doing that, like making music for like the chants and like the intro music and the prayers, like doing music for the prayers and like leading people through that. Um, I really enjoy doing that. So yeah.
And you also do the AV sound for band for What the Funk.
Yeah. What the funk? Yeah, I know. The band's awesome. That's another thing I really love. I just love listening to the band. It's just like receiving that and like um yeah, I mean we got Kirk who's just like I was just really appreciating Kirk on Sunday because I was just like looking at how far like what it took for him to become like who he is. Not only just in drumming, but in general. But yeah, just I mean, talking about drumming, he's like world-class drummer. And just like what it took for that to happen is pretty profound. And John's a really great guitarist. And then obviously you're a world-class singer as well. So yeah, the band is amazing.
Yeah, we all are. It's incredible to witness all that. So
Yeah,
cool.
it's just like, yeah, and then we get new members like every week. Marquise is doing his thing. He's like, I mean, he can just like freestyle. Like he doesn't really do it much. I mean, he has his songs in the band, but we were playing games the other night and he just like freestyled like the best like rap I've ever even heard. It was like, yeah, it's crazy.
Marquise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just like off the top and he was just like I was just like, holy shit, man. He's super talented too.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been like pushing a little bit for him to come out and share more of that gift inside of the songs. So we're becoming so dynamic with Debbie and Megan and Brandy and everybody joining the band. It's like most of the villagers are on the stage now. But yeah,
Yeah.
if there's one thing that you can say that you're grateful for Earthwaking, what would that be?
Oh man, just let me come home. Like, yeah, just yeah, just let me come home. Like it's the best feeling in the world. And we have one question here and it's like, how does it get any better than this? And it's really true. Like I really don't know. I'm just so grateful for this place and for God leading me home. And yeah, definitely don't deserve it, but it's worth it.
Is there anything else that you'd like to leave anybody with?
Yeah, just focus on Jesus, get right with God, focus on God only, and that's the most important thing in life. And just keep on submitting and surrendering your life over to that and allowing Him to uh, direct your life.
Well, thank you, Cole. I just really appreciate you opening your heart, opening up your world, and everything that you've been through to be here and surrendering your life to God. I feel very grateful that you're my brother in Christ. I appreciate everything that you do here in the village, and I see you rising as an amazing king here. And just to be walking side by side with you, it's an honor. It's been really cool. We've had our moments, but I think it's definitely brought us so much closer because we can share all of those things together. We don't hide anything from each other, and I think you are very transparent about a lot of things in your life, and I appreciate you uh, opening up your heart to us in the village and being a part of my family. And I appreciate you being on this On Purpose podcast and sharing that with the world and testifying. You can tell that Jesus Christ is number one in your life, and I appreciate you, brother. Thank you again.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome. And there's going to be a link to John's book, If I Die Before I Wake, in the description box for anybody that's watching. And there's going to be some resources for you if you want to support our mission and be supported on your journey and your spiritual path and your journey. We'd love to assist you. So thank you again for watching. Ciao.